This Volvo commercial is breaking the internet. It's been all over my feeds. Maybe you've seen it. We're going to watch it and review it here, not for the purpose of just saying, hey, kudos to them, but for the purpose of really breaking it down and seeing what we can take away from this. I think a lot of folks see this ad and they start talking about how it's different. But what does that mean, different? What is the subtext that we're feeling that makes it work? And how does this ad that goes against the narrative of people have short attention spans, people just want to know what the specs are and what the features are and what's in it for them? I'm going to break down what this means and how this could impact how you treat your church getting out in the community to be known in your community. And we're going to break that down here in just a second. If we haven't met before, my name is Justin Nava, founder of Nava Church Marketing. I want to see more churches become the cornerstone of their communities. I want American churches to, because that's just where I am, that's just where my focus is. I want American churches to stop being relegated to the sidelines. I want them to be in the community, reaching out to the community and being known in the community. So when people experience a new season of life, they see the Spirit pulling on their soul, they know that your church is the place to receive gospel, Christ-centered teaching, preaching, and discipleship. And one of the ways that you can do that is through good storytelling and good marketing. I don't want your church just to say, hey, we're here. Here's another time that we're meeting. I want your church to show that you understand what people are going through, understand their needs, and help guide them to the great fulfillment in Jesus Christ so that they can surrender their lives and follow him in obedience. And one of the ways that you can do that is through marketing. And so I want to look at this video here that Volvo just put out, totally counterintuitive to what people are saying. We're going to, because you need the full context of the video, we're going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to maybe skip a few parts here, but you can see here automatically. You may not know that this is a car commercial, right? And you only know this is a car commercial because people have watched the whole thing and probably talking about, hey, look at this car commercial. And this is not like the Jaguar car commercial. Like this actually has a point to the cars that they're selling. But
Okay.
automatically we're zooming in on a scene of life, right? Dad's doing laundry, mom comes in the room. I think,
Yeah.
well, I shouldn't say dad. Husband's doing laundry, woman comes in the room, and it's one of those things where he's interrupting his
Well,
day. Usually that's not a good sign, so he's looking kinda worried. Look, as men, married men, we've all been through this. We understand what this is like, so automatically we're pulled in because they are showing an experience that we understand. And I think we understand what just happened, right? She's pulling out the pregnancy test and, "Hey."
Hello.
hey, mom.
How are you guys? How you doing?
Yeah.
And again, they're zooming in on these micro happenings in life. And we're being pulled into a story. And I think that's what one of the things that we need to remember is that storytelling is what brings people in. The hook is what gets people in. And the way you hook people in a sermon on a Sunday morning when they're already what we call a captive audience, meaning they're already in the building, they're not going anywhere, is different when you want to hook in someone that's scrolling or living life and we need to interrupt their day to tell them something important. This is what modern day storytelling is. It's not coming from a point of, hey, look at how great we are, and let's talk about how great we are some more. It's we understand where you are, we understand what you've been through, and now let's tell you how it could be different. Now let's show where you could be going to. Is a difference of teaching. Here's how to do the Bible study versus here's how I do the Bible study as a dad of two who runs a business, right? Um, one of them is just very bland and blank. Here's how to do a Bible study. Another one is very in tune that if I opened up with it, like, hey, if you're running a business and you've got two kids and you feel like you have no time at all, here's how I do a Bible study in that same circumstance that actually helps me improve on my walk of faith. Right. Same thing. If a woman said, here's how to keep your kids entertained on a rainy day. It's okay, but hey, here's how to keep your three kids entertained on a cold and rainy day with a $0 budget. Like just honing in on that life experience of it's the end of the month. There is no more money. I can't order pizza. The kids are going crazy. We can't go to the park because it's raining. What do I do with my kids with what I already have in my already too small house? Right. You're painting a picture. So that's what this is. This is zooming in.
Yeah.
And automatically, we've already got three like empathetic experiences as men, which is and the woman too. Dad's doing laundry, probably don't want to be doing it. Mom walks in the room and he's got that look of like, hey, is everything okay? That's experience number 1. Then she pulls out the pregnancy stick. That's experience number 2. Now, mine, I don't think were surprises. There wasn't a surprise like that, like we were expecting kids or trying to have kids. But I don't know if they were trying or not, but there is that moment where it's like, "Hey, the 2 lines are here." Um, and then we go into calling the parents.
We're,
I didn't call our parents. We called a
we're
different.
good.
Something wrong?
No, but we've actually got something to tell you.
Okay, so
Kate's pregnant.
now we are going into more of emotions. It's pulling us into the things that we've experienced, right? I think every man should be there at his wife's side, uh, watching their kid come into the world, and we're getting glimpse of exactly that, like going from conception essentially, or finding out about it, to the birth of the
Oh,
child.
he's joking.
You're gonna be a grandma. I've got
So moving
this
forward, we
feeling
get
that
these little moments
we're
of
gonna
life
have a
that just
daughter.
show understanding. And that's the second point that I want to point out to you here, is that we don't want marketing just to help you understand the product. We want marketing to show how the product and the brand understands you. This is the big upside down flip that churches need to get on board with. It's not how great the church is, and it's not about understanding what the church does. It's about the church understanding who the person is and understanding how to guide the person to the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's not so much, hey, look at how great we are. It's, hey, let's look at what you need. Right. So Volvo is already understanding that, number one, we understand where you've been in life, these little moments in life. We understand what you're going through. Therefore, subtext, we understand what's important to you. And it's the memories like this, it's the future of memories like this.
Just as stubborn as her mum.
Hopefully
And
not.
and they are spending, now you could compact this into a 60-second ad, a 30-second ad, but taking the time to really breathe showcases that understanding. Again, it's the same thing as, here's how to Bible study, here's a good car for your family, versus here's how to do a Bible study when you've got 2 kids under the age of 5 and only 15 minutes a day because you're running a business, right? So like the more you hone in, some people call it niching down. I'm going to say focus in on a certain type of person you want to serve as a church, the more they feel understood, to where families are literally feeling like, I've gone through all of these. Yeah, it's kind of that preacher thing, right? When someone comes to you afterwards and after sermon, or maybe you've gone to the pastor after sermon, like it felt like you were preaching just to me, because they were honing in on that specific type of person.
The family's lounge.
So we've got these memories, we've got the
I
importance
want to see
of,
her
we
fall
know
in
what
love
is important to your family.
herself.
And then here's where we get into the
She adores. She hates.
this.
I hope she likes the name we give her.
So we're both like seeing
Have you
moments,
thought of
but also
any?
kind of
It all depends. We like Leia.
and again, we're taking our time here, or they're taking their time here, and they've spent 2 minutes and 56 seconds, almost 3 minutes, to get to this point where they're finally telling you something they want you to know. They're finally teaching you, essentially. And of course, we get to the point where we learn that the woman stays alive, the baby, the family carries on because Volvo has great, right? And so the message here is, we understand what's important to you. And because we understand what's important to you, we've made a great product. Now, this is not the church speaking, this is Volvo. We've made a great product based around your needs. Okay. Now, there will come a point where you have to, as a customer, go to Volvo, go to a dealership, and then you talk about the features, pricing, terms, all that stuff. But here, they want you to understand that you feel understood and that they've made a product around your needs. Now, here's what the church needs to understand, is that the church for so long has been such a cornerstone, to where it was just a given that you were going to go to church or know about the church, or at least go to church every couple of times a year. We used to be 90% Christian proclaiming country. Now we're down to 70%, which you and I both knows, as far as Christ fearing, following, repenting believers, that number is probably closer to like 7%. Okay. So, we are moving away from Christianity and church as a country. And with that, we need to massage how we get our church known to where it's not just it's a given you're going to go to church. It's just a matter of what church you go to. That we really have become, we're actually coming away from being a commodity, which I think is a good thing. So it's no longer about, well, we have this worship service or we have this in our kids ministry. We teach out of this Bible. This is all about we. And instead, what the messaging needs to come across, just like cars, there's all the cars do the same thing. They just do it different ways. The Volvo is flipping themselves over and saying, it's not about what we do, it's about what you need. And then we're going to come in and support what you need. So, as a church, the message lesson that we can take from this is we need to flip it from less focus on who we are and more focus on who the community is, or uh, who in the community needs what the church has. It becomes less about we're a safe space where you can find your faith. It becomes more about you're stuck wandering, tired of wandering, and you need to find something outside yourself. And then you can introduce the church as part of that. So the marketing message doesn't have to just go. And by the way, I think it is substantially easier to spend $50,000 on a car than fully give yourself to Christ from just one ad like this. Like there is a journey, there is a discipleship journey from dead to life. There is a process in there. Many churches have a greeter process, assimilation process, from first time to member process. Like there is a whole thing there. Same thing with Volvo. There is a sales process, and so this is really just part of the front end of saying, hey, if you're a family, if family is important to you, if you've got kids, Volvo should be in consideration. And us, as being like, we're kind of getting tired. Our car's almost 11 years old. We're kind of like, we've got another kid now. So it's like, we need, we want a larger car. Volvo was not in the running, but I admittedly, as soon as I saw this out, I was like, does Volvo sell a car as big as a Suburban that we're looking at? Um, Unfortunately, no. But since they are showing that they understand me, they understand the things that I go through, they understand the things that are important to me, they have now entered a race in which they were never ever considered. And this is the big point here. So often, the world, the people in your community, in your backyard, are suffering from spiritual problems and they are seeking worldly solutions. And we live in a time now where the church is not even a part of that conversation of how they can solve their addiction, how they can solve their relationships, how they can solve their self-worth issues, okay, how they can solve their identity. The church is no longer a part of that. And so what you need to do as a church, as you strive to become known in your community, is you need to stop, well, not stop, but you need to shift a focus from saying, here we are, here's how great we are, don't you want to be a part, and shift it into, we understand where you are, we understand what hurts, and here's what you can do next to find fulfillment and relief from that, which is, of course, in Jesus Christ. So that's the three lessons that I encourage you. Rewatch this again. I don't have the patience to sit there and watch it again with you, and I don't want to take up that time. But rewatch this again and think about, okay, how are they shifting away from, here's the specific specs on the few cars that we sell and why you should want these cars, and how it's shifting from your life is important. You have specific needs, and here's how we understand those needs. That way, when you have to make that decision, because not everyone's going to buy a car out of this commercial, but when you are ready to buy a car, consider Volvo because we know what's important to you. That is the message that is coming through here. So, understand that storytelling is not just here's a story about how great our 11 o'clock service is. It's a story of we understand where you are. We understand the points of life that are frustrating and hurting, that you have needs. And then we understand those needs. Jesus understood those needs, lived through those needs, and died for those needs. And so, how do you marry those two? So, storytelling, utmost important. Understanding, actually, I guess, understanding the person's needs and using those needs to say, like, Jesus Christ is the utmost importance. So, understanding your community's needs, using storytelling to showcase you understand that, and then coming up with what we call like a memorable message that says, like, hey, here's how we understand those needs. We understand that the world feels like it feels like the world's got its boot on your neck, and no matter what you do, you can't get out from under it. But through Jesus Christ, you can conquer anything and live better, serve better, give better. um, is one of our clients. I just butchered that, but so understanding how to present that message to your community, bathe them in the message of your church, so that when people have that need, people have that call, they know you, and they're not distracted with, oh, here's the coolest worship music, here's the coolest kids events, here's the best youth events, here's the church that does the helicopter egg drop. I'm not saying there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but people can be persuaded away from a Christ-centered church into a church that is not specifically ready to disciple them in the way that they need to to be discipled because they can't meet the needs that that unique person has that your church does, even as a small 15-person neighborhood Baptist church. There are people that need what you have. And until they know that you can serve them, they're not going to decide to come to you just because you have a specific service time or you have a specific preaching style. They are going to look for the churches that understand what they need, understand what's important to them, and help guide them in making decisions for the rest of their life in a way that we might call discipleship. So watch this and think about those things. And if you like this breakdown, like and comment down below. Are there other ads that you're like, hey, I like what this church is doing, or I like what this organization is doing, or here's the latest ad that we've tried? Comment down below. Let me know what kind of content you want to see me break down. Subscribe if you want to see more like this, and I will see you all in the next video. God bless.